Hello everyone, Superior Golem here. So this is going to be another episode of Let's Build Golem City, and I'm not going to be showing you any updates that I've done in this city so far. I'm currently working on a new building right next to Golem Central Park, but today is going to be a topic of, what should you add in your city? If you're a city builder out there like me, and these are basically topics that you should probably consider, adding into your city. So one thing that is important to your city, I would say, is interior. Now, like, even just adding floors or adding walls into your buildings, at least it makes it look like a completed building. I'm not saying you have to add interior to all your buildings, and you don't even have to take my advice and put an interior to build into your buildings. But in my opinion, to make it like a functional city for you and your friends to play with, make some interior. Um, I feel like interior is like one of the most important things to add in your city. And what I would consider, a functional city is adding an interior, or at least like elevator shafts with floors in them. I mean, even just that's pretty much interior. Um, like me, I'm not going to have full interior in all my buildings. Some buildings, yeah, but not every single building is going to have full interior for me. But I'm going to make, most of my buildings that has interior in them. Like, even just a lobby would even be good. Or, like, adding walls is pretty important, too, to make it look like, it's to make it look like it has interior. So interior is very important, and you should definitely consider adding it into your city, because if you haven't, well, then your city is basically not a functional city in my eyes. Um, take Juicy Taz 201 for an example. Like, he has interior in pretty much most of his buildings. And most of it, I think pretty much all of his buildings have at least floors in them. His YouTube channel name is Juicy Taz 201, and pretty much every single building of his has at least floors in them. And that's pretty outstanding, and that's what should be in a city to make it like a functional city. And most of his buildings have interior in them and stuff. So definitely put an interior in. I just did that. What did I do here? Okay. So the next thing is building style. If you're making a city, you gotta put in some style into your buildings. Now, if it's just like a whole like blocky building, like just like a whole like square going all the way up to the top, if it's gonna be like that, then at least put like some design on your building. Like, for example, the design on my building, has the blue windows, and it's got like balconies on these floors to make it look interesting. As you can see right here, I can get balconies here. And let's look at some of my other buildings, and as you can see, like, obviously this is pretty, detailed and designed. The Freedom Tower here, and this building and this building, they're exact same pretty much, just one's smaller. And yeah, I did start it in the interior, but we'll show that in another video. So basically, uh, what was I gonna say? So basically, like, if you have the same building, it's okay. Just don't make like the same building like over and over again, like in all different spots. Like, even if it's just like a different color building. And as you can see, like, all of my buildings, pretty much have different style into them. Like, as you can see, this building, uh, it looks very different from all these other buildings around here. This building, this is one of my favorite buildings in my city. It's very different, and so is this building. This building is a cool building as well. And as you can see, it's got detail to it, and it's pretty modern, and like If you're adding older style buildings too, I mean, that would look good as well. Um, so yeah, add design to your buildings. Add, you know, detail to them, because like if you don't, like you're basically gonna make the same building over and over again, and that's not gonna look good. And it's just not gonna look good. And also, like, don't make your buildings the same exact height either. As you can see, I got rid of the Shanghai Financial Center. I'll explain that again. I'll explain this in the next episode, which I'm going to upload just after this one. So if you're worried about that, I will explain it in the next video. I promise. But um, basically, don't make the same exact height of buildings. And like, if so, some of my buildings, you know, they're pretty close. They're pretty close in height. They're not the exact same height in one area. Like, some of my buildings that are back there are short. Some of them are like pretty tall. Some of them are medium sized, like not quite at sky limit, but like halfway, I would say. So basically, let's take my communication service building for an example. The blue building that I haven't really talked much out of all of them. So basically, that building is pretty much at about halfway to height limit. Um, this building here, if not a little bit more, probably. But yeah, like this building here. This building here is. I forget what I was gonna say again. No, this building here is not like as tall as the rest of these buildings here. I, Again, they're pretty close in height, but most of my buildings are like they're tall, but they're not like super like a lot of them like are just completely different like sizes. Because like this actually let's take my first building for example. This I would say is about halfway to sky limit, or somewhat like close to it, about halfway to sky limit maybe. I don't know, it doesn't even look like it's even close, but something around there. If it was a little bit taller, then yeah, it would be probably about halfway to sky limit. But again, like, just make your buildings different sizes. It just makes your buildings look so better, and just makes your view look a lot better. It looks more realistic that way. Yeah, if you make all your buildings the same exact size, it just doesn't look as good. It's just I can promise you that it won't look as good as some other buildings in your city, or like other like uh, people that make cities and stuff. Like, make your buildings different sizes. It doesn't all have to be like, oh, I want to build this huge building. Just make it different sizes, and it'll look a lot better. I promise you. Most of my buildings are pretty close of being um, as tall as each other, but not quite. So, and I got a lot of smaller buildings back here. So yeah, like I have different, size buildings. So, if you want to make a good city, you should probably do the same thing as well, because it'll make your city a lot nicer and a lot better looking. So, I think there's one more thing I wanted to talk about. Oh yeah, roads. If you're starting a city, I would say start with the roads first. That's the most important thing, or at least like what I did here is like make like plans where your roads are going to be, and then put your buildings. Like, that's basically what I did here. I made more plans where I'm going to put my buildings and street lights and stuff. So yeah, make your roads first before you make your buildings. Because if you make your building first and then you make your road, basically, if you haven't seen my first city tour, like my first, I think like a week ago I did. Well, it probably was a week. I don't know, but I made a video on my first city that I made, and you could tell that I definitely made buildings before I made roads and stuff, because my roads were different, like sizes. Some of them were like really, really small. Some of them were like large, and you could tell. Sorry, that's my dog shaking there. You could tell that I put the buildings before I put the streets down. So make sure you put down streets and stuff. And also in a city, you should add some parks. Not everywhere you should put um, like these ridiculous tall buildings. You should add some parks. Like right here is eventually going to be a big park with a bunch of trees and stuff. The tourist attraction area. I guess you could say that my city is going to be based off of Manhattan, but like for example, this is going to be called Golem Central Park, and I started on the park, but obviously I haven't finished it. This used to be a farm, which didn't really look realistic, and a lot of people were questioning me about that. So I took it down, and I decided to just make this into a park eventually. So that's going to be a park, and yeah. So recap, put interior buildings. Don't make your buildings like the same exact size. Um, Make sure you put like at least like plans where your roads are going to be, and also like make sure you put plans where your roads are going to be before you make the buildings, or put roads down and then make your buildings. Like it doesn't matter, just at least make plans where your roads are going to be, and you know put in design in your buildings, and different shapes maybe as well, like would look good. Like don't make like I kind of made it. Yeah, I made the same shape a lot. Most of my buildings, I made it pretty much the same shape. But most of these buildings, they have design to them. So, you know, they may be all the same shape, but they have good design. So that's going to be it for today. That's little tips that you could use if you want to make a good city. Um, so you could use those tips if you want to, or you don't even have to take my advice. But if there's anything that I missed that was really important, let me know in the comments, and so I'll know that, and maybe I might teach something from you. So thank y'all for watching this video. I know it was a short one today, but this wasn't really. Would you stop shaking, Dottie? Okay, so this wasn't really a long video. I apologize, but next video will be like a let's build. So thank y'all for watching.